Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to Wolang Wednesday. Are you ready to learn about how to create empathetic global learners in your world language classroom using some tech that you already know and love? I know you're going to love it. So, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. My name's Devin. If we've never hung out before, I'm so glad to meet you. I am the teacher author behind La Libre Language Learning, or La Libre Language Learning if you are a Spanish teacher, because I used to be a French and Spanish teacher, and now I create resources and curriculum full time for teachers. If you and I have hung out before, either on one of these classes or if you were part of the conference at Practical and Comprehensible, let me know in the comments below. I'm so excited to hang out with you again. Thanks for joining me. So many of you are here today because I invited you from my email newsletter that we were having a really exciting class today all about how to use the technology that you're already comfortable with, because we're not about tech overwhelm. We're not about that life. How to use technology that you already know and love to do something new and exciting in your class. But we're also, before we dive into how to create virtual field trips and how this is really going to spark new and exciting conversations in your classroom about what it really means to be a global learner and a global citizen, I want to make sure that you know this about why I chose to do this class today. The world of education, I'm sure, as you know, being a part of it, and I was a high school teacher, but this is true of any level, really, no matter whether you're elementary, middle, or high school, is that give me a shout out in the comments give me a yes in the comments if you feel this way too, that education can be very trendy, especially with distance learning when we were all trying to figure out what the what we were going to do. When I was still teaching during quarantine and trying to figure out what technology would work the best with me teaching from home and what my students were already comfortable with, it was a thing trying to sort through everything that would work well for my students. And now what I see a lot of teachers being frustrated with, let me know if that's a yes for you, if there's so much to weed through. Yes, there's all these great tools and things that we can be using, and a lot of them are free, but more is not better when it comes to technology. It's better to hone in on and focus in on a few things that truly line up with your classroom goals. So the first thing that we need to talk about before we even get into class is what really is the goal of your classroom. And you might have multiple, but I am very adamant about making sure that you have a semblance of an idea of what the goal is for your classroom. What do I mean by that? Because the whole reason that you are here and that we are here, give me a yes if you are all about this, is I believed in my classroom when I was teaching French and Spanish, and what I do now with helping teachers with their curriculum, that every resource that I create is to help students using digital tools, especially ones that they're already familiar with or that are going to serve them the best in either a university or workforce environment, that everything that they do in a world language classroom should be moving them forward towards the goal of becoming an empathetic global citizen. Do you feel that? Give me some love in the comments if you're all about that, because that is the driving force behind everything that I did in my classroom and every resource that I create now. And although other things are important to me, because they are, I mean, there are lots of other things that I want to make sure happen. Like, for example, when it comes to all of the proficiency benchmarks, I even picked one of the proficiency benchmarks to focus on more than others. Like, for example, I fundamentally believe that above all else, that speaking is the most important thing that students could have gotten out of my classroom. Because me being a person who has used three languages in different circumstances in my own country, as well as being abroad, writing is not that useful, honestly, in an international context. And, people might disagree with me when it comes to that, but I believe firmly from my own experience that the number one thing that really helps that will help students in the future when they're communicating is speaking. Really. And reading things is incredibly helpful too, because it helps to get up that speaking proficiency as well. But what really creates connections between people is speaking. And that is what I focused on in my classroom, was like, let's get this speaking up to par. Now, that doesn't mean that the other things aren't important, right? It just means that speaking was the priority. So let me ask you, what are the priorities for your classroom? In my classroom, the priority, it could have been a lot of other things, but the priority, with the very little time that I have with them, was they will be, as close as I can get them, empathetic global learners. Because my philosophy on world language is that that's really what we're here for. And language is just the conduit that we use to get there, because language is just a tool for communication. So without further ado, I'm going to check on in here. And hello, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad to hear you in here. What up, Jane? Yep, that's for real. That is for real. I'm so glad that you're here with me. I'm just checking on my phone, making sure this is working, and it's looking great. So without further ado, let's dive in, because I have some really great things to show you. And let me see here if I can, do I still have this copied to my clipboard? I think so. But I have a link for you to hang out with me for a Google Doc that we are going to share together. So let me see if I can get this into where I want it to be. Yes, I think I can. All right, so I'm going to put it in the comments right here. All right, I'm going to get this link for y'all, and you can jump in on this Google Doc with me as well. So give me just a second to put it in here. Copy link. And then I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive in. So while I'm doing that and taking care of some tech, y'all, we got some people hanging out with us here today. Tell me, where are you coming from today? You can jump in on this link with me if you want to hang out on the Google Doc with me, but otherwise I'm going to share my screen so you'll be able to see it too. So don't worry. And please let me know that I think I have all the sharing things all set up, but you know how that sometimes goes. All right, so let me share my screen so that we're all set. And I can't wait to hang out with y'all. This is going to be fun. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what it means to be a creator of a virtual field trip, why you're going to do it, and how you can do it in the least amount of time. Okay, so put in the comments below. Can you see the screen? Everything good? Let me know if you can see it. But what we're all looking at here is the link that I dropped. Okay, I can see it in here, so I think we're good. What we're looking at here is a little outline of exactly how you can make this happen for yourself. And this is how to create empathetic global learners with virtual field trips. And that, the whole reason behind this is that was the focus of everything that I did in my classroom, was creating empathetic global learners. So think back again to what I told you about my friends who are live as well as on the replay. I'm so glad that you're here. Thanks for joining me. Replay friends as well. Let me know if you are watching from the replay. Put it in the comments. I love to chat with you even later on past the lives. It just keeps the love going. It's awesome. So let me know, have you ever felt like education can be really trendy when it comes to the tools that we are using and the strategies that we're using in our classroom? Things really come and go. Everything's good. Oh, thank you, Angelica. And we got Jane's coming from Columbus, Ohio. First year Spanish 1 teacher. Y'all give her the love. You're killing it. That's amazing. Coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ooh, awesome. How's the desert life, Angelica? Or Angelica, make sure that I'm saying your name correctly, because your name is beautiful and I don't want to mess it up. Salem, New York, way up north on the border with Vermont. Yes, loving it. That's awesome. Thanks for joining me, y'all. It's so nice to see you and hang out with you. Well, I can't see you, but it's nice to hang out with you. So you're going to get the idea of it being trendy sometimes in education is that you're going to get so many things that will come across your plate, right? Like you got invited to this training and you're going to get invited to a lot more, because I do this every week. Not everything is going to be for you. And from the other beautiful people that you follow, like all of the wonderful teachers that were part of the conference Practical and Comprehensible, like Claudia and Berta and La Loca and Pav and John and all of the people, and Meredith, all the people, they have amazing trainings too. And the things that they're doing are all so incredible. And here's the other thing to this too, is that not all of it's going to be for you, right? Not everything's really going to work for you. So how do you know when you come across a really great idea that's trending with other people? Like when I heard about the Bitmoji classroom, I was like, that is freaking amazing. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But that's not really my style. That's not really for me. That doesn't fit in with making my students empathetic global learners, right? But it would fit in with your classroom if your goal is to make your students feel like they are completely a part of the most united classroom community. Does that resonate with you? Because that's what Bitmoji classrooms are for. That's what they're really, really good at. But that's not a part of my mission statement, even though that's really important to me. I'm not going to put a lot of focus into creating a Bitmoji classroom, even though I think they're really cool, because my focus is this, and I'm clicking on the screen here, global learners. That's my focus. So that's what I'm going to put my time in. And those of you who have hung out with me before, you know that I'm all about practical. And one of the things about being practical and the year that I spent going home on time every day is that you have to be ruthless with your choices about what's going to work for you and what's not. So that's why I think it is a good exercise first before you dive into this. If you came to this, I know you're interested in this, but even before you look at this, you're going to learn a lot of things that'll be cool for how you can maybe get some new ideas for your classroom, but make sure that it fits with your goals. Even if you like it, make sure it fits with your classroom goals before you really dive into it. So here's how you can get started with creating a virtual field trip if you'd love to go down that route. The first thing that you can do is gather some tools together to make this happen. First, I guess I should tell you what a virtual field trip is. Let me show you one. So a virtual field trip is when you immerse students. Let me make sure that this is changing tabs correctly, and hopefully you can see it. But it's when you immerse students in any kind of culture through different resources that give them a full 360 view. Okay, you can see it. This right here is a virtual field trip that I recently made to celebrate one of my favorite places because I studied abroad here. And what I did in this virtual field trip, and the reason that it exists, is so that, and you can see through here, you can see just even with your students that are gonna do nothing, they're gonna see with these pictures a really immersive experience of like, this is what it looked like every day for me walking around the Dominican. Like, this is what it looked like to be a part of that country. And if you are new to the culture of La República Dominicana, they do a month-long celebration every year in February, March, depending on what the Easter schedule looks like that year, called Carnaval, where they make these beautiful, elaborate, gorgeous costumes for a parade. And so what I wanted to do was have students be able to see it and get curious about it, so that I'm not forcing them to click links. They freaking want to click the links. That was the goal behind this. And the immersive part of this is that with a lot of these, is that these links that you're seeing here on the right, these are links to different hotels, links to different places that they can go, links to YouTube videos. And in this specific case, this is a link to Google Earth. Google Earth is one of the best ways to show your students around a place. So we'll take another look at that in a second, but let's get back to that. So those are that's the way that you can really create a virtual field trip. Now, yours is probably not going to look like mine, right? Because you can make it in a lot less time than I make mine. But for the tools that you really need at its most basic level, you need Google Earth, which Google Earth, just Google it. It is a completely free satellite service if you've never used it before, and I'm going to mess with it a little bit here so that you can see it. And the other part that you're going to need is some sort of slides. I put mine on Google Slides because Google Slides are the most shareable of all other slide platforms, but you can also use canva.com. You can also use Slide Deck. I think it's slidedeck.com. Anything that works for your district, you're just going to need something where you can share things online and put them online. And then the last thing that you're going to need is YouTube videos or Vimeo videos, articles, and media from the place that you're going. And we'll talk about exactly where you should go and how you can find them later. But those are the 3 tools that you really need to make an effective virtual field trip. It's not anything truly new or techie or crazy, but the thing that makes it tech especially exciting is Google Earth is really doing all the work for you, which yes, that's exciting. But the other part that is especially attractive to me is that the organization of the resource is what makes it a powerful thing altogether. So instead of just looking at one YouTube video for an entire class period, which you really could with a lot of these, but having it be through the lens and frames and structure of a virtual field trip, it gives your whole exploration of that document, whatever it might be, it gives it a strong purpose, like a strong sense of design, which when you have a strong sense of design and organization, students will follow along with you a lot better rather than, hey, let's check out this cool video of Carnaval in the Dominican Republic today. We're exploring the Dominican Republic on this 2-week trip. And part of it is we're going to try and go to one of the parades and see what it's actually like. So then you start out with figuring out what the DR really looks like, what Santiago normally looks like during the regular months, and then what Santiago looks like during Carnaval. And then you can also experience some of the other videos from YouTube that are along the lines of, well, why is Carnaval important? Where's the history behind it? What does that really mean? Why is it a month long? All of those exciting things are going to come along with how you're putting these together. Let's go into what makes it a good one. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I have it to fit, but you know what? Let's just go crazy. Oh, wait, no, fit was better. Fit was better. I lied. All right, we're just going to focus all of our energy in here. What makes your virtual field trip a good one and not just a jumbled collection of resources? Here's what you need to do. And if you're really interested